Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Alexa, and I'm on the events team here at Books Are Magic. We are so excited to be hosting the launch event for Lior Torenberg's debut novel, Just Watch Me, here with Emily Gould. Before we get started, I just have a few housekeeping notes to get out of the way. We'll be doing a hand-raised audience Q&A towards the end of the discussion, so you can start thinking of some questions now and hold on to them tight. After the talk tonight, Lior will be signing and personalizing books, and I'll show you how to line up for that after the discussion. If you're joining us on the YouTube live stream, please buy copies of Just Watch Me from the link in the description box below. You won't be disappointed. All right, this bold debut is about a charismatic misfit, Dell, who live streams her life for 7 days and 7 nights to raise money to save her comatose sister. Just Watch Me is a poignant and darkly funny exploration of grief, forgiveness, and redemption, and the reason we're all here tonight. Lior Torenberg's work has been published by One Story, Mayday, the Poetry Society of New York, and others. She received her MFA in creative writing from NYU and graduated from the Lighthouse Writers Workshop's book project. Just Watch Me is her first novel. Emily Gould is the author of 3 books, most recently the novel Perfect Tunes, which we also have for sale at the front tonight. With Ruth Curry, she co-created Emily Books, a feminist imprint of Coffeehouse Press. She is a features writer at New York Magazine. And without any further delay, please join me in giving Lior and Emily a very warm welcome.
So I think we're going to start with a reading.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to just read the opening scene of the book and see if I can hold a mic at the same time. A guy comes in, early 30s, with a suit on. Good looking, in a Listerine clean sort of way, a bit heavy on the hair product. I slip the apron around my neck and let the straps dangle around my ankles. Can I have the Dr. Clean Green with almond butter instead of peanut butter? Sure, I say. Almond butter will be $3.50 extra. What? He says. Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding. I'm sorry. I was here yesterday and they did the swap for free, he says. And if I wasn't on Nick's bad side, I would gladly avoid charging. Give the customer something for free and they'll give you a bigger tip. I'm sorry, I say, trying to actually lick it. Do you still want to substitute the almond butter? What's your problem, he asks. $3.50 for a swap. I'm not even adding anything. That's fucking insane. I hate this city. I want to laugh. I want to commiserate. It is fucking insane, but so is paying nearly $20 for a smoothie to begin with. The livelihood of this store is predicated on the existence of this man who doesn't blink before spending my hourly salary on a 16-ounce beverage. Is your manager here? Hello? He calls behind me into the back room, which is empty. But then he takes out his phone, and I know exactly what he's doing. Online reviews are exclusively written by people like him. I'm no stranger to the low-carb outrage of American Psycho drones on their lunch breaks. I either give this guy what he wants and risk getting fired, or he leaves a bad review, and I'm definitely getting fired. Hey, I say, but he doesn't look up, just keeps moving his fingers across his phone screen. I swear every shift here takes a week off my life. Sir, I say, a little louder, a little more pissy. If I'm screwed either way, then there's no reason to put up with being treated like this by a man whose leather briefcase is worth more than my kidneys on the black market. Anger flashes across my front brain. It gains texture and heft. I blink hard, but it won't go away. The man's fingers keep typing. Hey, I yell. He looks up from his phone. I throw the jar of almond butter at him. Whatever, okay? Just take it. He catches the jar in one hand and looks at me, his other thumb paused over his phone as I take off my apron and toss it to the ground. Want to get a drink, I ask? What? No. Fine, I say, and leave the store. Thank you.
I just want to get a sense before we start chatting. How many people here have been lucky enough to read the book already? Oh, wow. Okay. So we can, well, I mean, I'm still not going to spoil it for those of you who have not. But that's great that we can sort of talk about some of the stuff that's in the book a little bit more. But first, so I just wanted to ask you, I was lucky enough to get to hang out with you a little bit, and get to know you before we talked in front of all of these people. Um, and one of the things that you told me that I thought was really interesting was that this is not your first novel.
Hmm.
Do you want to tell me a little bit more about your actual first novel and
Oh,
what it was
wow.
about and the how that you're
Sure.
you're like no.
No, sure. I mean, I think we're in good company, but this is not. I think this is pretty common actually. But this novel that's coming out is maybe like the fifth book I've written, and I think it just sometimes takes a while to get better and to get your 10,000 hours in. And I'm sharing with you that I actually entered my MFA with a different book, and a lot of people here are from my MFA. Thank you for coming. And over those 2 years, that book just became such a Frankenstein. I think it was over workshopped and got feedback from different people that was often conflicting. And I did put that away and start this one, which felt very joyful. I started writing it during the pandemic in 2021. And I'm really grateful that it's coming out now, but it is very far from my first book. And I also think that's partially why it's 0% autobiographical for those who have read it.
That's so funny that you say that because the next thing that I was gonna ask slash tell you is that um, I don't know what I was I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I didn't really have a lot of expectations meeting you for the first time, but there was a part of me that was expecting Dell to
Yeah.
show up. And Dell, for those of you who haven't read the book yet, she lives in a room, not even an apartment. She has to use her neighbor's bathroom. They have a, you know, kind of a, they have an interesting relationship that, has like some, anyway, she gets to use her neighbor's bathroom, but like that's really no way to live. Her apartment is full of plants, which she sells for money. She like um is so hard up for cash that after she obviously gets fired from her smoothie shop job, um, she takes to doing some like cam work and eating increasingly hot peppers, um, both to get by herself and also to raise money to support her sister who is on life support in the hospital, or so she tells the reader. Um, where the fuck did any of this come from?
Yeah. There's a lot of specificity in there for sure. Yeah, I think that I was more online than usual in 2021, and a lot of us were. And I wasn't familiar with platforms like Twitch, and they definitely existed before. But a part of that platform is called Just Chatting, and it is genuinely just people talking to their screen. And people tune in for this and for different reasons. And I was really fascinated by that, especially if people are live streaming their whole day and they're folding their laundry or making their lunch. And I was confused by it. So it was definitely a case of writing towards what I wanted to understand rather than writing what I knew. And it seemed lonely to me, but also full of potential. And at this time, we weren't using words like creator economy or attention economy. And I just wanted to understand it and thinking about who would have the disposition for this. It's not me, but once Dell was on the page, I had to give her something to do on camera. So eating hot peppers came out of that. I think shows like Hot Ones have really brought hot pepper and hot sauce eating into the popular culture. So having her eat increasingly spicy peppers was, I think, a way for her to keep her audience attuned. She is performing pain. People are watching her go to extremes and paying her for it, but also a form of self-harm genuinely for her too.
What's your relationship to eating really hot peppers?
Much more of a hobbyist. I don't do it for money. I love hot sauce. I love hot peppers, like maybe more than the average person, but I think I don't know if there's an amount of money for me to eat a Reaper. That is, when you get to that level, it is equal to pepper spray. And so, yeah, no thanks.
But you would eat a jalapeno.
Yeah, and I have, there's interviews, yeah.
Um, I mean, so I've brought with me some jalapeno. No,
No?
I wish I thought of that. Wouldn't
But
that
you
have
can
been fun?
watch those on my Instagram. Avid Reader had me do that. It was fun.
Um, I mean, when you say that you like spicy things and hot sauce and peppers more than the average person, I feel like you like them a lot more than the average
Yeah,
person.
yeah, I have dragged a lot of people here to the New York City Hot Sauce Expo. Thank you, all really good friends, for coming with me. It's like the best day of the year in New York, and the opportunity to watch the world record competition, which they host there every year, is so cool. It's like Olympic level human feats. So it's actually in April, so you haven't missed it. So come, it's an industry city. It's a lot of fun.
Um, you mentioned the show Hot Ones. I assume that the ask is out to Hot Ones.
I think it might be, but like we can talk about it later. But it was brought up.
I mean, have any other authors been on Hot Ones?
No,
I
but
mean, like authors, not like authors.
probably not. I don't know if there's any hope for the main show, but they have a lot of different clips and different sub channels. So there's not zero hope. But no, I don't think any authors have been on yet.
There's a first time for everything.
Yes. We did make a hot sauce with Smoke and Ed Curry, who, if you don't know, he invented the Reaper. So it's a Reaper sauce, eat at your own risk. But he is one of the main providers for Hot Ones. So there's a way in there.
Anything's possible
Mhm.
in the greatest city in the world. I want to go back to the MFA of it all for a second. I understand that we have some of your fellow MFAers here with us tonight, so you can't shit talk your MFA too bad. Maybe some teachers even in the crowd.
I don't think so, actually.
Oh, really?
So we can talk.
Okay. Cool. Just vibing it out. I think what you talked about is actually really common, or at least it's a common story that I've heard, is that like a book or a story gets killed by over workshopping.
Mhm.
Um, so that's not a good thing about the whole MFA deal. What were the good things that you took
Yeah.
away from the MFA experience?
Very largely good. And I think one of the biggest things is these amazing people here in the community. that
Aw,
I've kept in touch
yay!
with.
Love
No,
you, Lior.
yeah, I mean, I think that it's not any fault of the MFA, but I think when you go in, and it's not an if, it's like a when you go in and you're so open and you maybe are working on your voice, it is so hard to have a radar, because if someone tells you something, especially if it's a celebrity, like NYU has some really celebrity authors there, you are just going to
Like
take
who?
that. Like Zadie Smith was on our faculty, Jonathan Safran Foer, Katie Kitamura. Like when these people give you feedback, it's gospel. That's the end of it. There's no kind of second guessing it. So when you don't have that internal voice yet, it is very confusing. But it's still a blessing to be able to learn from those people and talk to them and be in proximity.
Like some more than others, or
No, they're great. They're all great.
okay, that's us. But what would you say are the downsides of it, other than the whole, losing your voice thing?
I think the thing I will say is that formal education with writing, I think craft is incredibly useful, but it's not everything. So getting back to the very organic joy of writing is something I had to relearn after, because it becomes work and it becomes like ones and zeros. And that's important. You need to know that, but then also it has to still be fun, or else you won't sit down and do it every day. So I think that after my MFA, when I put that book in a shelf, I had to just experiment and try new things and unlearn a little bit too, and figure out where I wanted to end up.
Um, just picking up that thread a little bit. In terms of like your celeb teachers, were there writers who you admire, whose work you felt like was like informing this work?
I don't think so at NYU. I mean, our
Oh,
writer.
not at NYU, like in the world and just in general, like
Oh,
writers
yeah.
that whose work you feel like this book is sort of in conversation with, or
Yeah. I mean, I think it is in conversation with a lot of this amazing genre of weird girl lit fic, like Otessa Moshfegh and Lisa Broder and all these. I love all their books and I'll read all their books. But I think the very first writer that imprinted on me, where I thought, like, okay, if this is how people are allowed to write, then maybe I can do this, was Laurie Moore. If you haven't read her short stories, it's kind of like David Sedaris-y, but also very, very deep. Like she has a story about returning a late library book that will bring you to tears. So I would say I think those three authors definitely had a big impact on me.
do you think of yourself more of a natural novelist or more of a natural short story writer?
I don't know if I'm a natural novelist. It's really hard. I love writing books. I've been writing every day for a long time, but I also like writing essays and poems and short stories. And I think it just comes from a different well. Like to write a book, you have to kind of be obsessed with an idea for years and be obsessed enough to write what amounts to like a million words about it, because the end result, there's a million words that go into getting there. So you need to have a level of obsession, and sometimes an idea or a fixation is just not big enough. So then it becomes a short story. Or yeah, poems are a little more rare for me, but yeah, I'm open to all forms. Yeah, I think I will write more short stories.
What about like an opera libretto
I
or
wrote a music. Okay, it's so embarrassing. When I was like 14, I think I wrote a musical based on a Lana Del Rey album, like ABBA style. But I think that is not even in Google Drive. I think that's like on a Windows like computer somewhere. Good.
no, we have to find it. What was it called?
I don't remember. Carmen, maybe? No, that's a different music. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you.
But was it pulling from her entire catalog, or
No,
was
it's
it?
just the Born to Die album.
What was the plot?
I don't think it had one.
I mean, the plot was like, I love this guy, but he
Boys and
sucks.
cars. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds really. There should be a Lana Del Rey jukebox musical. So mote it be.
Yeah.
Let's put that into
We'll
the
see.
universe. You don't have to be the one who does
Thanks.
it. Do you feel like because I know you're working on another book now? Do you feel like talking about it at all, or it's like it's in the oven, it's still baking?
Yeah, I think it's still getting to a point where I can talk about it, but it's very, very different from just Watch Me. I feel like it's almost a direct response to it, and it's more ambitious. And I hope, even though it's quite different, it'll still have this weirdness, this quirkiness, and the heart would still be there. So we're working on it. Yeah.
I mean, I know I sort of already asked you this question in another form, but I'm just gonna ask it in a really direct way. Like, you're not a weird. I mean, I don't know you like that, but like you're as someone who is, you seem like a pretty like driven type A, writes every day, went to school, like did all the
Mhm.
things. Like you're not a weird girl disaster. How do you know the life of weird girl disaster?
I don't know. Everyone's weird. I think I'm not gonna like show it right now, like on stage in front of like everyone I've ever met. No, everyone's weird. Everyone's weird. And I also think there's like fears too. If you're just someone with anxiety, where your brain is playing this like gorgeous game with you every second of what's the worst thing I could do right now, or what's like the worst thing that could happen right now. And sometimes I think it can be really cathartic to write about that, where it's, a genre that I'm not as interested in. Never Say Never is nonfiction, just like the story of what happened. I'd much rather like what's the story of what didn't happen or what could have happened, and take these anxieties to a logical extreme in a way where I can still survive them and write through them, and it can be really helpful. So I'm just a normal girl with anxiety.
Fair enough. Sorry, it tripped me up when you said that nonfiction is the story of what happened. I'm like,
Maybe
is
it's not.
it?
So maybe it's supposed to be, but
I mean, I feel like for me, nonfiction is the part of what happened that is a story.
that's nicer. Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking. What if you could have any director direct the movie of Just Watch Me? Who would you pick?
Maybe the audience can give me ideas. I don't know that many directors offhand. Maybe you have ideas. Andrew will direct it.
What about Greta?
Greta. Let's do Greta.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool. Is she here? Um, no, obviously. I'm clarifying for the live stream that we're referring to Greta Gerwig, but you already knew that. Okay, love it. And were you listening to any particular music when you were writing, or is there sort of like a soundtrack for the book in your
love that
mind?
question. So I think the soundtrack of the book is a bit retroactive for me, and I'm making correlations into causations. But like I sold my book, I want to say January 4th, and then Brat album came out January 16th or 20th. And I think there was just something in the air, this like post-pandemic need to go have fun and be weird and go out and be in the world very much. So I associate the Brat album with my book for that timing. And just for how Dell is, I think that would be a good anthem for her. But when I was writing, I think I was just doing this like COVID depression loop of The Office and Parks and Rec and Gilmore Girls and comfort shows. So I don't think I was really listening to anything that interesting.
Well, congratulations to you for
Thank you.
taking that dark time and making it into such a fun book.
Thank you. Thank you. Dell spent a lot of time in her apartment, and that's because I was also doing that. Yeah.
And I hope your apartment was nicer than what passes for an apartment for
Oh
Dell.
yeah, but that apartment exists. I have the listing if anyone wants to see it. And it might because I have a screenshot of it now, but in the description it says no bathroom, 24-hour gym downstairs. Like that was real. But I have shared a studio with 2 other girls, so I think her reality seems crazy, but if you're a local, like I think you get it. Yeah.
Like I said, greatest city in the world. Yeah. All right, I think we're ready to hand it over to some audience questions. So how it's going to work is that you're going to raise your hand. I'll call on you. You'll say your question. You don't have to worry about being loud as long as I can hear you. And then I will repeat your question for the live stream as succinctly as possible. And then Lior will answer it. Come on. Yes.
Hey. Oh, it's such a
Great
good question.
question. The question is, did you cathect onto any like Twitch streamers in particular while you were writing the book?
No, I wish I did. They were like much more boring. No one was eating hot peppers. Like they were genuinely folding their laundry. So, but I mostly watched them as research to understand the chat and how people were chatting in the live chat and just the different usernames and the cadence of it and the slang and like the way no one's ever answering each other. So I did watch a lot of streams, but it's not, I don't think I'm like, I think I mostly did it as research. So I wish I had people to recommend, but 99% of Twitch is people playing video games, which is also fun. I think I've watched like Sims streams that have been fun.
Go for it.
Hi. 2 questions. Were you writing this when we lived together? Because if so, I'm like amazed and so happy I finally get to read it. And then 2, there's some really visceral descriptions in there of what it's like to be a person eating one of these peppers. And like you're telling me that you've never eaten some of the ones that she eats. How did you like, especially like when she's eating these peppers and talking about what she's going through and feeling in her body both before and after is so distinct that it feels like you put a lot of thought into that. How did you put that to text?
Okay, so shorter version, were you writing this book when you
My
and
roommates.
this individual lived together? And how did you nail the visceral descriptions of what it's like to eat really, really hot peppers, both before, during, and after?
So I think to your first question, I think I started it
Okay.
after we lived together. We were roommates during the pandemic, and the peppers. I have eaten things that are at my personal pepper limit. Like I've eaten Reaper byproducts. I've had sauces with Reaper in them. The raw pepper is not. I don't want to go near it. But like when you're at the competition and people are eating the Reapers, like your eyes water in the crowd. If you're close enough, it is genuinely pepper spray. So, but I've had things that are my personal limit, and I think it's all relative. It's all relative. And I am someone also with like stomach problems. So that part of her experience and my own experience of eating food that was too spicy for me personally helped me put in some of the really graphic and specific detail.
Yes.
And someone might feel that way eating like Tabasco. So it's all relative.
Yes.
I read the book and I loved it and it's crazy. But you said that the apartment is real. How much is the rent? And it really has no windows and no bathroom. And what neighborhood is it in?
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned Melissa Broder before. And what is your favorite book by Melissa Broder?
Okay, two-parter again. First part, you said the apartment's real. Give me all the specs, location, rent, etc. Part two, what's your favorite Melissa Broder book?
So the apartment was, I think I saw the listing in like 2017. So you'll have to adjust for inflation. But at the time it was like $16.50 and it was in Chelsea. Yeah. So now it'd probably be like 3,000 now. And I think my favorite Melissa Broder book is The Pisces. And I love Milk Fed, but The Pisces is just like, I mean, merman romance, but it make it weird. It's so good. It's great.
Oh, sorry, someone's had their hand up for a while. Yes, you. No, you. Yeah, you.
Okay, you said you wrote 5 books before this or 4 books before this. What advice would you give yourself at the beginning of your writing process?
What advice would you give past Lior about your writing process if you could like grab her before she wrote the 4 or 5 books that came before this one?
And I think I'm still searching for a process. And I think I don't know about advice, but I think that for me, like my worst tendency is to treat things as like items to check off a list because that works for most of life and good enough is good enough for most of life. And this is a very, very frustrating thing for me because I'm not someone who naturally wants mastery. Like for me, 80% is like great, ship it. And it just can't do that with a book. So for me, I need to understand of like when I think something's done, it probably needs like 1 to 2 more years and whether I'm willing to do that or not. And sometimes the answer is no. And I think patience is going to be for me the advice I always have to remind myself about.
Yeah,
it's boring.
It's true though. Oh my God, so many hands. You were all okay. I love it. I love all the hands. Yes.
That's so kind.
You guys,
That is really kind.
you guys are really committed to hand justice.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I might ramble a little bit. You are doing a great job of putting things so succinctly. So
That's why I get the big bucks.
Okay. All right. So I am kind of wondering about, you say you write every single day. I'm kind of wondering about like if you have a time of day or a place and if you like stick to that or if you're pretty flex in like where you are, because I've known you for a little while and so I know that writing your novel was not the only thing that you were doing while you were writing this, right? You're doing a lot. So I guess just kind of like a couple questions in one. But like where and when you write, if it's flexible, and how you balance other parts of life with writing without being like, I'm anxious and overwhelmed and I can't do this right now. Does that make sense?
Oh my God, I love that you broke it down into like a bullet points for me. It was like ChatGPT, but it was in real life. I mean, but in a good way, not in the way that should be illegal. So the question is, you're writing time of day, like you know, what kind of pen do you use? No, just kidding. But also like, how do you write and also do other things in your life? Which going out on a limb here, I'm assuming that means like making money and
Mhm.
surviving. And also, wait, there was a third one.
I said, I guess just like maybe it's important, but like, were you flexible with where and when you write?
Oh yeah, are you like the what's her name? We've always lived in the castle.
Shirley Jackson.
Shirley Jackson, who is like writing on what on a napkin while her like kids are playing in the kitchen, or do you have to like have like the sound of a Tibetan singing bowl, and like it has to be between like 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. I don't know. Yeah, go off.
Yeah. So I think I have the best brain in the morning, so I try to write in the morning. And there's some people here who are like former coworkers, and like Riley, I know you mentioned that you remember me writing in the office before work, like getting there at 7:30 before people come in to have that time. And it really is like 20, 30 minutes a day. I don't want to write more than that. Some people can like not write all week and then do 3, 4 hours on a weekend. I can't do that. Like I don't have the attention span. It feels like too much. So sneaking it in, and then it does add up. But I'm flexible now more than I was before because I think I've built that trust with myself. But that was also like a test. When I remember when I was like 22, I said, if I can write every day, then I'm allowed to apply for an MFA. Like having these to prove to myself that I wanted it. And I kept that for the most part. But like today I didn't write. And if I'm on vacation, I won't. And so, yeah, there's some flexibility, but I think it is always surprising like how quickly things add up with like 20 minutes a day.
Every day.
Mhm.
Weekends included.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Um, yes.
Okay. I also have a question about the previous book and possibly the Lana Del Rey.
Oh no.
I'm curious if in all of these works, was there like a central theme or question that you feel like you can circle in different ways, or do they feel independent? And if so, like what's that central thing that you're still wrestling with?
Oh, really good question. I don't wish I had thought to ask this. In all your books that you've worked on, is there a central theme that you're circling?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'll think about it. I haven't like thought about them as a unit, but I think I don't know. No, I don't know. I think that I wrote all of them is the central like the tying principle. But I think I do write a lot about like implication and this feeling of like might get deep for a second, but like just living today, going through your day, whether it's what you choose to eat or where you choose to shop or your phone, like you really cannot escape being implicated in a million different things day to day. And in with Dell, it's with her viewers, like they implicated in what she's doing? I think the answer is yes. Or with other books I've written, it's like when things happen, who is to blame and how do they get through it or how do they carry that implication, and that's something I haven't figured out for myself just as like a person living in the world. So I think that's a theme that comes up quite often for me.
Like complicity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you still have a question?
Yes, let me just get it together.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so you mentioned that Dell, and I have but Dell eating the hot peppers is almost like a form of self-harm as well. And I'm wondering if, I don't know if non-traditional is the right word, but just kind of unexpected ways of self-punishment, if that was part of any research that you did, or if it's just something that kind of naturally occurred within the narrative.
Great question. So, you mentioned eating the peppers as a form of self-harm. Were you exploring, I'm not going to put it as well as you did, unconventional routes to self-harm, like using that as the peppers as a way to do that in the book?
Maybe not consciously, but I think there's a lot of communities where people are taking their bodies to the extreme in order to work through something or to replace something. Like exercise can be that for people, marathon running. In the hot sauce communities, when you go to these expos, there's also a big contingent that's like former people in recovery from addictions turn to hot sauce or hot peppers. because I think, first of all, it releases like insane adrenaline and hormones. But I think there is also something there about, for Adele, like having a feeling to mirror, having a physical feeling to mirror her emotional feelings, and to help her process and to help her like emote in an acceptable way. Like tears streaming down her face from the peppers, because she can't actually like show emotions in real life. So it is, I do think, like a form of self-harm for her, but also like an acceptable form of expression for someone who is incredibly repressed.
Sure.
Sure. What are your top 3 cuisines in terms of how they use hot peppers? And if you want to shout out any specific dishes, feel free to do so.
Yeah.
All right. Top 3 cuisines
Wow.
ranked, you know, obviously. And if you want to shout out any dishes, feel free to do so.
I mean, I love the question. I think like, yeah, I've lived in London for the last 2 years, and my tolerance has definitely gone down there. So being here now, all I want to find is good Mexican food, because there's not any there. So love that. And I guess Indian food. Would anyone have an idea for a third cuisine that uses hot sauce?
I'm gonna say you had Ethiopian a lot.
Yeah,
But I don't
it wasn't that spicy
know.
though. Yeah, I don't know. I will like shout out, if you want a really good recreational, actually hot sauce, the Trader Joe's habanero is awesome. It's actually spicy. It's really good.
Who knew? Yes, you. Oh, okay.
What, hi.
Hi.
Are we gonna see any of those books that you wrote before?
I hope so.
Oh, are the books that you wrote before going to see the light of day?
Yeah, I think some of them, maybe. We'll see. I'd like them to, but we'll see. It's not all up to me. It's up to the books too.
Good luck to the books. We have time for one more question. You both already asked one. I mean, should we do rock, paper, scissors? Oh, she's saying it has to be you. So.
Oh, it's a very silly question. So you mentioned coming back here and enjoying Mexican food, because there's not a lot in London. I'm from California, so to me, there's no Mexican food here. Unless you're in Bushwick, spots. So what's your go-to Mexican place
This
here?
is the last question.
Okay, the last question is for someone who is from California. There is no Mexican food in New York. It's true. But you know what is crazy? I mean, there's probably a totally obvious reason for this. It's just New York. It's not the East Coast. Like, there's good Mexican food in Philly, and there's good Mexican food in Connecticut. So I don't know what is wrong with New York City. We'll have to explore that. But yeah, what's your Mexican go-to here?
Andrew, do you have one? I don't have one.
Mine?
I'm on the spot too, yeah.
I mean, also from California. Nani's Taqueria is pretty good. And I feel like just like Astoria has good ones. I think to your point though about like why there isn't good Mexican food, I don't actually have the data, but I think that the biggest Latino communities that really established themselves in the city were like Puerto Rico, like Dominican, and like South America, Central America, not Mexico. So there aren't really as big specifically Mexican communities here as there are in other places in the country.
New York lacks Mexican communities.
We'll end it on that.
Yeah. But now I'm hungry, so yeah. All right, let's go eat something spicy. Let's give it up for Lior. Y'all can go.
Thank you. And I would love to talk to each and every one of you. So you can join us. We're going to the Black Bull, which is like a 5-minute walk from here. I would love to chat with you. So come join. And I'll also say that we have these postcards in the front. My book, Just Watch Me, was nominated for CBS New York's book club. So thank you. I would love for you all to vote. I think the cool thing is that you don't need to make an account. It is literally a link and then one click. And for some reason, mine is default selected, which is really nice. So please do it before you leave, and then come get a drink at the Black Bull.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. If you're still with us on the YouTube live stream, you can check the link in the description box below for books and maybe also hot sauce. We will be packing up chairs as soon as y'all stand up because we have to turn this place back into a bookstore. So make sure you have your scarves and your mittens and all the things to survive the cold. And in just a second, you guys are getting so ready, and I love that. I'm gonna be walking Lior down to where if you had a snack, that's where we'll be signing. We have to move all the snacks, so it'll just take 1 second, but that's where it's all gonna go down. Thank you guys so much, and have a great night. For 1 second.
That was so fun.